Welcome to My Daily Thread. It's a great little place to get a snippet of wisdom from the yoga and the meditation masters to start or to end your day. I'm Jeff Lichty. All right, everyone, welcome to the week. We are off and running, and let's get a couple housekeeping items out of the way. Those of you that sent me a word for the snippet challenge, send me your t-shirt sizes so that I can get some swag out. And if you have an extra large head, I haven't decided on the swag yet, by the way, so this will be interesting to see what we come up with. But those of you who sent me a word, whether it's a wee word, whether it's a morsel, a pearl, send me your address where you want it sent to, and let's get that rolling. Last week, at the end of the week, we were talking about how 220, that's chapter 2, verse 20 of the Yoga Sūtras of Patanjali, talks about the Seer, and I jumped into saying something. Sometimes I wonder why I put my feet in my mouth like this, but I did. I said, yes, let's talk about how this applies to relationships. I'm like, why did I do that? And now here I am this week, and I've been thinking about it all weekend, and I'm trying to understand what I am going to do with this. I came up with a plan, and here's the thing. This week, I want to do something just a little bit different. I'm going to talk about the Yoga Sūtras that we've studied up to this point, and I'm going to try, if I can, to apply it to relationship. Seeing clearly, yogic wisdom for better relationships. Wow. Woo. Definitely something that I need, and so there it is. We are going to start with that this week. I'm hoping by now that you've got a sense that there's some ancient insights, there's some ancient wisdom, there's some snippets, some morsels, there's a wee tiny bit. There's always a pearl of wisdom that we can glean from the ancient scriptures. And specifically in this case, we're talking about Patanjali because that's what I was chanting a lot when I was in India. We've been working on Sutra 220, and we know when we talk about Sutra 220, that was dṛṣṭā dṛṣimatra shutopi pratyayanupashyaha. And this idea, the seer is pure awareness, and yet it appears to be seen only through the mind. And so when we go right back to what we started talking about right at the beginning of the podcast, when Patanjali opened up and said, Atha, yogānuśāsanam, now you're ready to study this yoga thing from the inside out. Atha, now you're ready. It's time to bring something forth from within. We talked about this last week. This idea in the Yoga Sutras of bringing forth what is within us, finding that wisdom, then translates into this idea of tada dṛṣṭā husvarupe vastanam. Then we reside in our own true nature. What is our true nature? Who is the capital S self deep inside? And so this is what we're going to explore this week as it relates to relationships. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it today, but what I really want us to think about is this. We are not our reactions. I am not my reaction. That's really important for this week. That's really important for my relationships. Throughout the whole week, we'll figure this out a little bit more as we go along. But the question I want you to consider today is, how are you showing up? How are you showing up in your relationships? And I mean every kind of relationship, not just romantic relationships, but also with your kids, with your parents, with your coworkers, with the barista, at your local coffee shop. How are you showing up? And can we start to use some of the insights that we've been talking about in this podcast and help navigate our relationships? Can we move beyond reactivity? Can we soften our projections? And here's one. Think about this. Can we listen and listen from a grounded place in awareness? Let's see if we can figure out some simple shifts. What's a simple shift that you can make? And we'll talk about it through the week. But for now, just start with, how are you showing up? How are you showing up with honesty and lovingly in your relationships? This idea that the Yoga Sutras, that yoga is more than postures, poses, or about personal peace, about sitting around chanting Om Shanti. I want us to really start to sink into the idea that yoga is a deep, deep philosophical system that actually has application to our world and to our life today. one thing that's very clear. Rangan Chatterjee says this. He says, strong relationships are the cornerstone of good health. Strong relationships are the cornerstone of good health. It's the quality of our relationships that determines the quality of our lives. Now listen, this is not a new conversation. We know this. But how can we start to integrate yogic teachings into this understanding? How do I build stronger relationships and how do I build better health? All right, more into it tomorrow, friends. Om. Peace out. As a post-show note, can you believe it? We're done the first quarter of 2025. Are you having problems integrating your practices? Are you having problems launching? Let me help you out with that. jefflichty.com. Go to the contact page, shoot me a note, and let's jump on a call and we'll chat. Let's get you back on track. Peace out.